Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Decomposition Stakeholders Weekly Stand-Up, Wednesday, May 4th. Looks like I have the first couple of items. So phase 4 rollout was completed 100% last Thursday. We did have some issues with database saturation and kind of things were intertwined with the console out of memory incident that we saw, but ultimately there was really strong collaboration with SREs across time zones. We went ahead with a roll forward approach and ensured any issues were addressed, and we haven't seen any saturation problems since last Thursday. And then we did open a phase 4 retro just to reflect on not just phase 4, but phase 3, since those were pretty big rollouts with a lot of steps and a lot of people involved. So definitely encourage everyone to take a look at that. I think some really good feedback, a lot of praise about how well collaboration was between development and infrastructure. So yeah, encourage everyone to read that and contribute any thoughts you might have. So up next are phase 5 and 6, which are kind of all happening at once, but we're developing the failover plan, starting to plan out our test runs and rollback and staging, defining different potential disaster recovery scenarios and rollback plans. And even just in the last couple of days, there have been some really good discussions happening, some more thoughts around our approach are crystallizing. So I won't go through the full summary here, but feel free to just take a look at the sharding sync agenda. The most recent items have a pretty good summary of where we're at in those discussions and planning. Any questions?
I just noticed in that agenda that there's an item to connect with Jose directly around part of it. Is there, I don't know, Ken or Dave, is there any better direction as far as, I mean, Jose, maybe Jose is the right person, but I mean, he's not the only DBRE either, so.
Yes, I guess Jose maybe the go-to directly person being mentioned here, but definitely we do have also Rafael, who has been working closely onto this as well, supporting onto it.
Okay, all right, and I guess maybe, sorry, I just caught it as I was going through there. Maybe if we could just make sure that whatever, I see Jose interacting in there, like if we could just make sure that the rest of the squad is aware of what's going on there and kind of involved in the at least understanding it, because it's I mean, this is a pretty important set of planning going forward, that all the DBREs and also the rest of that squad should be pretty familiar with.
Will do. Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Jose was in the sync earlier and provided a lot of great feedback. And one of the things that was discussed was the need to stand up another cluster, another standby cluster and staging to help test some of the rollback plans. And so we tried to make it pretty clear, like, we're asking you about this because you're definitely you're very familiar with what's going on here, and you know, we really want your opinion on this, and we're not necessarily expecting you to do all this work. And so yeah, the more we can hopefully spread that out, I agree, the better. Cool. Yeah, and then going on to blockers, dependencies to coordinate. Yeah, provisioning database layer. Thanks, Dave, for kind of following up there and adding those comments. Did you want to? Yeah, is there any updates there?
No, it's the very end of the day for Rafa, so I haven't had a chance to talk. And Gonzalo's in Australia, so it's really the end of today. 8 hours from now, I'll have a chance to sync up with Gonzalo and make sure that he's in the loop. He's helping with the OS upgrade stuff, but last check I had, gosh, with Australian time, it's so hard. So at the end of the day on Monday, he was like, OS upgrade stuff's kind of light. Oh, I did find something to do, but I was kind of unclear on like how much of his time, but my impression was I think I could get him 50-50 to help with this and help with that. So both of those tasks are kind of start something, wait for feedback, work with Marcel. So I'll double check that assumption today.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for following up on it. I had the next item. This just came from the phase 4 rollout retro. I don't think it's anything directly actionable this week, but just something for us to start thinking about and planning over the next upcoming weeks. There were just some ideas for ensuring that we had multiple engineers across time zones familiar with what the failover rollout plan would be for phase 7, and just want to make sure that we're going to be able to coordinate a time off. So Dylan had some initial thoughts there, so I think that's maybe worth a read, and we can keep collaborating on that and just making sure that the right people are involved and all that handover across time zones is well coordinated.
It seems like at a very quick glance on the skimming that comment right now, Nick, is it mainly the handoff between APAC and EMEA that we're trying to make sure we do well?
I think that's, yeah, I'm getting the impression that people are favoring getting this started during APAC hours, kind of given the low traffic, and then just the capability of the people who are involved, and then making sure that there is a good handoff between APAC and EMEA if anything.
Okay.
I guess needs to be monitored, or if there are still steps that, I guess maybe if there ends up being some sort of phase rollout step, but I can't imagine that would be the case, because I think I think ideally this is all going to kind of happen within a very well-defined downtime window. So I'm guessing it's more about like monitoring and making sure that people understand what the rollback plans are, I guess roll back, but roll forward potential troubleshooting steps are if anything does come up.
So in that case, for Ken and Steve, I think my concern would be then who's the SRE that we're trying to help be able to be paired with Jose or Alexander. We're a little thin there right now with Rob now out.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. It's something we need to do. I think the only challenge is, as you're calling out, Dev, is the availability of people to be able to effectively manage this going forward. But I think also as a point on the retro is for us to think about it and also plan for it proactively going forward. We might not necessarily do it right now, but at least be able to plan that given the availability of the engineers around at that time for future rollouts as well.
Yeah, I'm literally thinking aloud, but that's almost where I'd want to reach out to Rachel maybe and say, like, could we get some of Igor's time to also be a set of hands or eyes to help? Because normally, in like other than Rahab, I'd have leaned towards a mod, but we don't have a mod either. So,
and just to clarify, Nick, this is not something that we are doing right now, right? This is a point of like for future rollouts, like in phase 5, phase 6, if we are facing the same, then we need to actively be able to plan for that. Even if not the entire development phase, but at least at the rollout phase, we should be able to plan for that to be able to monitor such.
Yeah, and I think this is specifically talking about the actual phase 7 final rollout, because phase 5 and 6 now are testing things on staging and going through some of this planning. So I think there will definitely be some collaboration there, but I think this is specifically making sure that, and the sooner I guess we can get people involved and understand in what's going on in staging and understanding some of those steps that we're running through, the better. But I imagine maybe we'll have some more concrete schedule as we get closer, and then we can try to find maybe better define, like, okay, here are the slots, here are like the covered slots that we're looking for, and maybe the number or kinds of expertise we need, and then we can kind of fill that out similar to a coverage schedule or something like that. Also,
and if that's in June, then the current tension is a little less worrisome. During May, we're going to be a little thin. That's what I was trying to express, and just make sure I understood. That's why I was asking the question.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Awesome, thanks. And yeah, any update on the standing item for the DBOS upgrade timing?
Not yet. We just completed phase 0 today, literally, and so we'll be starting phase 1. So as we stand, no new changes there. We're still on track on the timelines that we had shared, but now that we're starting phase 1, which is more of testing on benchmarking and then testing in staging and then production, we will have a kind of start having a clear picture of how that will be, whether we are going to take longer or shorter time onto that, because now it's more about testing rather than the development phase.
Cool, sounds good. And yeah, I think we'll just want to keep an eye on the timing for both of these as we get closer. There was a little discussion in the database scalability working group on Monday about, okay, if these are really close, what takes precedence, or is there an order of operation? Yeah, and I don't know if there was a clear answer. I think there was some agreement that it would still be best to try to do decomposition first. But yeah, we can keep evaluating that as we get closer. All right, I think that brings us to the end of the agenda. Anything else? All right, well, just want to say thank you again. Really appreciate the strong collaboration here. We just hit a pretty big milestone, so I'll throw a ta-da emoji in Zoom here, and yeah, looking forward to next steps. All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks.
Everyone.